Welcome to our first Discipleship Diagnostics. Before we get started, it's probably worth introducing ourselves.
Yep, I'm Darin.
I'm Claire.
And I'm Matt. So we wanted to make a series of videos to help answer all the questions you might have about discipleship or using the Discipleship Pack resource. And just to add in a flavour of fun, we decided to call that Discipleship Diagnostics. So just before we jump properly into those videos, we just wanted to take a pause and unpack possibly the most important question, which is, why is discipleship important in the first place? So what do you guys think?
Because Darin says it is?
Yep, Darin does like to say it is, but any other reason for people who maybe don't know Darin?
Jesus commanded it. That's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, that's probably a bit more compelling. So I guess you're thinking about the Great Commission, so Matthew 28 verses 18 to 20, where it says, "Go therefore and make disciples of all nations."
That's a good one. It's actually not the one I was thinking of. I was thinking a bit back before that. How about if I asked you, what was Jesus' purpose on earth? Why did he come? What was his mission?
Probably more to do with like dying on the cross for our sins and modelling a good way to live your life.
Yeah, those are two pretty important things. Couldn't argue with those. But I was actually thinking back to John 17. It's the night before Jesus died, and he's in the upper room with his disciples. And we get this little insight that kind of blows your mind when you think about it. He basically is praying to the Father, and he says, "I've completed the work that you gave me to do." And that's before the crucifixion or the resurrection even happened.
So then what was the work that Jesus said he had finished?
Well, if you keep reading and you jump down a few verses, he basically explains that it was to invest in his disciples and multiply his life into them. So we see that discipleship was really important to Jesus. He didn't only do it, but he commanded others to do it. And actually, if we're claiming to follow him, we should be doing the same.
Boom, mic drop. I think we could leave it there. But Darin, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I just think if we go back to this model or this example of disciple making that Jesus gave us, it can really help us as youth ministers, because youth ministry is really difficult. And we're seeing churches are losing heart, they're losing confidence, they want to reach and grow young people, they just don't have any idea how to do it. And so I just think this model and example of Jesus gives us a great roadmap for youth ministry.
Yeah, youth work is definitely hard, and it doesn't seem to be getting any easier. I know a lot of churches are wrestling with how do you do outreach and continue that spiritual growth and development in your young people, even after they've made a commitment. And, we run all these youth clubs and events and groups, and there's varying levels of fruit in that.
Yeah, I think a lot of churches are feeling like there's a decreasing amount of spiritual fruit. They're not seeing the results they want to see. And a lot of the things that seem to work in the past, like drop-ins and youth clubs and Christian festivals, worship events, they're just not as effective as they used to be. It's more difficult to gather young people. But I don't think we have to panic, because I think discipleship still works. We can still do that. Discipleship is about an intentional relationship, and young people are looking for a relationship with a caring adult who can pour into them. They want that. And that discipling relationship, it can happen in a small group, it can happen one-to-one, it can happen online, it can happen anywhere, so we can still do that.
Yeah, so why is discipleship important? Because Jesus modeled and commanded it, because it's applicable to young people wherever they're at, because you can do it in any climate or context, and because it gives us a clear direction with our youth ministry. I'm sure we could unpack a lot more thoughts on discipleship. So if that's something you or your team's looking for, make sure you watch the rest of these videos, or pick yourself up a Discipleship Pack, or if you want, there's tons of links below of resources we found really helpful. But that's kind of it for our first video, but make sure you watch the rest of our Discipleship Diagnostics.